Welcome to the 2025 International Partnering Forum Opening Plenary. Please welcome Liz Burdock, President and CEO of the Oceantic Network.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song.
Hello, everyone. So nice to see all of you here. You know, normally IPF opens with a celebration of our collective success, our milestones, the megawatts, the momentum. And let's be clear, we've made incredible progress over the last 4 years. Let's bring up that slide, please. But these are not normal times. 100 days ago today, this momentum was targeted. Offshore wind and onshore wind found itself in political crosshairs. And yet, here we are. That fact alone speaks volumes. It tells us that we still believe in this industry. It tells us that we still believe in each other. And it reminds us that progress doesn't always move in a smooth, straight line. But it does move forward when we push forward together. This moment, it's unsettling and unprecedented, and yes, deeply unfair. But the only way out is through. That's why this IPF matters more than ever. We're not just here to trade business cards. We're here to unlock the full force of our collective creativity, to rethink, redesign, and reignite the U.S. offshore wind industry. Offshore wind, it's more than electricity. It's shipbuilding and steel. It's job creation. It's energy security. It's optimism. And it's people. All of this means it's a future worth fighting for. But in our fight, we must adapt and adapt fast. While we grapple with indecision, economic uncertainty, and political turbulence, our opponents are loud, and they're organized, and they're holding elected leaders accountable to their demands. It's time we respond with strength on strength. No more passive storytelling. No more silence while the narrative is shaped by others. We must amplify the truths. Truths like the largest offshore wind project in the country is being built right here in beautiful Virginia Beach in the Hampton Roads region. This region has emerged as a hub of offshore energy activity, with leaders stepping up to defend the industry. Republican leaders like Virginia Beach Mayor Bobby D., a fierce advocate for this city and this industry, and one of our host sponsors. Just yesterday, host sponsor LS Greenlink broke ground in nearby Chesapeake on a new state-of-the-art subsea cable manufacturing facility made possible by smart federal manufacturing tax incentives now in risk of repeal. Governor Youngkin and other leaders stood proudly alongside that announcement. They see the long-term value in offshore wind. Our job, all of our jobs, is to keep pushing so that regulators, citizens, and politicians will realize that offshore wind, it's not optional. We have to have it. It's necessary to keep the power on. Here in Virginia, offshore wind is a critical piece of host sponsor Dominion Energy's plans to deal with the 6% annual growth in energy demand. That's 6%. Data centers are driving up demand faster than we can bring new generation online. And if there is an energy crisis, it's one of our own making. By holding back offshore wind, our federal government denies the nation a true all-of-the-above energy strategy. If we were allowed to move forward, we could have 10 gigawatts on the grid by the end of the decade, and another 10 gigawatts ready to go. That's reliable, baseload power pumped directly into our cities that will actually lower energy bills, just like it's doing here in Virginia, and it will also keep utility bills in check in New York and New England. A true all-of-the-above energy strategy recognizes that building energy, it's hard. There's no quick fix. Our natural gas industry is straining under intense demand that's driving up prices. Our nuclear fleet must be recommercialized quickly. In contrast, study after study confirms that solar, wind, and battery storage offer the fastest, most cost-effective deployment. It's right up there on the screen. Make no mistake, we are shovel ready. Let's be clear, we're more than shovel ready. Yet, despite all the data, all the facts, and the logic, we know we're up against misguided information and a targeted attack. It's frustrating and it's exhausting. But I can promise you, this organization isn't going anywhere. And we hope you won't either. We hope you stay in this fight with us. If one market closes, we'll work to open doors to others. This is the International Partnering Forum. And while it was born in the US, it knows no geographical boundaries. That's why we're proud to welcome all of the international delegations here this week, and why we invited the Honorable Tim Houston, Premier of Nova Scotia, to speak. Nova Scotia is open for business. It's open for offshore wind development, even as doors try to close in the US. I have no doubt that what Premier Houston will say is what many of us are thinking. If the US doesn't want billions in investment and job creation, Nova Scotia and Canada will certainly take it. We're not going to let our network of highly capable supply chain companies sit idle. We'll walk through that global gateway to other markets, and we'll pivot to ocean-based climate and power solutions. We'll follow the lead of host sponsor RWE and others who are expanding into ocean renewables and unlocking opportunities in the broader blue economy. But make no mistake, we are not abandoning offshore wind. We're going to power through. We're going to keep working the problem by doing the hard, gritty work to build policies and bipartisan support that will position this industry for a resurgence in 2 to 4 years. This week, you'll hear hard truths, and you'll hear big ideas. I want you to take it all in, because I want this to be our reset, not just to regroup, but to reimagine. And we challenge you to build an industry that is uniquely American. Faster where we can, smarter where we must. Before we close, I want to take a moment to sincerely thank everyone who made this week possible. To our attendees, thank you for showing up, for investing your time, and for being part of this wonderful community. To our sponsors and exhibitors, your partnership, innovation, and commitment are what make IPF the powerhouse that it is. And to the incredible Oceantic staff, your tireless work behind the scenes is the reason why we're all able to gather here together. None of this happens without you. So, welcome to IPF 2025. Let's roll up our sleeves. Let's speak with clarity. Let's create with courage and lead this industry into the next chapter. Let's keep powering on.
This is my fight song. Take back my life song. Prove I'm alright song.
Located at the midpoint of the U.S. Atlantic coast, Virginia Beach is the largest city in Virginia and home to a thriving, diverse business community. 27 miles off Virginia Beach's coastline is the Coastal Virginia Offshore Wind Project by Dominion Energy. Set to be the largest commercial-scale offshore wind farm in the U.S. With 176 turbines, the 2.6 gigawatt project will generate enough clean energy to power 660,000 homes. Companies thrive in Virginia Beach thanks to the city's pro-business climate, fueled by low taxes, skilled workforce supported by a vast veteran community, and a lower cost of doing business than other states active in the offshore wind industry. Ready to see what Virginia Beach can do for your business? The Virginia Beach Department of Economic Development is eager to assist businesses looking to establish a presence in the city. Discover the power of Virginia Beach by visiting yesvirginiabeach.com.
Please welcome Virginia Beach Mayor Robert Dyer.
Wave after wave, wave after wave, slowly drifting.
Wow, what a crowd. How we doing this morning? Welcome to Virginia Beach. It's always a pleasure for me to welcome people to our city. And the purpose of coming together this week is very important. First of all, I want to thank Oceantic Network for hosting this important conference right here in Virginia Beach. And also a thank you and expression of gratitude to the President and CEO, Liz Burdick, and her team for the hard work and planning in putting this together. Also, as mayor of Virginia Beach, I cannot go further without giving a special thanks to Dominion Energy for getting this whole ball rolling and working with our economic development team and investing so much in long-range planning and investing in wind energy. They have been determined and committed to bring offshore wind energy to Virginia Beach. And frankly, we couldn't ask for a better partner to do this. It should go without saying, but I'll say it anyway. Any commitment of this magnitude needs a team of players or stakeholders who will support our effort 100%. We understand that partnerships are essential for the success of this most noble effort. The list of stakeholders includes state government teams from Commonwealth of Virginia, as well as many Hampton Roads regions and the Port of Virginia. Our chances for success are so much greater because of them. So I thank all of you. This new industry has been rising from one of the oldest sources of energy known to man. Just as winds have filled the sails of ships and transported them around the world since the earliest ages of man, we are now harnessing that energy to provide for local governments, towns, cities, homes, and businesses around the world. When you look at the Atlantic Ocean and Virginia Beach, we are a natural fit for offshore wind development. Our mid-Atlantic location places us at the center of the American offshore wind industry. In fact, I'll go so far to say that you look at Virginia Beach, you're looking at the heart and future of off-wind energy in this United States. For several years now, wind energy has been on the forefront of Virginia Beach's agenda. Our collective efforts to lead job creation, economic investment, diversification of Virginia's economy, and clean and renewable energy. As the world moves toward cleaner and more cost-efficient energy sources, we are positioning Virginia Beach to become one of the main offshore wind energy hubs in this nation, and are taking steps to work with other regions and nations to ensure this future success. If we are to succeed in planning and developing our future, we must begin with a vision that includes all of us and is forged through cooperation, patience, and strength. We can do that when we work together and begin to shape and share the vision and the future. This meeting of minds this week is such an impressive collection of business, engineering, and scientific minds in the fastest growing industry, and I welcome all of you to the Virginia Beach, and I just want to personally thank each and every one of you for providing the future that our nation deserves. Thank you, and God bless you.
Well, that was pretty impressive.
It was.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much, Liz. Thank you.
Thank you for traveling all the way from Korea to be with us.
Oh, definitely.
And the major investment that you've made in our country.
It was big.
It was big. Well, let's talk about it. You broke ground yesterday on your high-voltage submarine power facility. I was honored to be there.
Thank you very much for coming.
Well, how are you feeling after accomplishing this big step?
Relieved, number one, because as you all know, having that, I would say, big ceremony is stressful. So number one, it's very relieved that it's over.
I heard you had to build a road to it. Is that true?
Yeah, babe.
So what's next as you prepare to open the factory?
The important thing, I think, is spending money is going to be pretty simple. But if you want to open a factory, we need skilled workers, we need good workers, we have to have those plans of what we're going to be doing to actually operate the factory. So now we're actually implementing those plans, and the plan implementation phase is actually beginning. So yesterday was just a start, beginning, and now we have to do all the real work is actually ahead of us right now.
Right. That's when the hard work starts.
Yeah.
So how is this project different from others that you've taken before?
Well, the similar thing is the frame of the factory is going to be pretty similar to what we actually have in Korea. But the difference is building a factory and operating a factory in Korea is going to be completely different in building and operating a factory in the US because of the culture differences, because of, I would say, people, the supply chain, all kind of things will be different.
So why did you settle on Virginia? Did you meet Bobby D? Is that what happened?
Or yesterday I told the governor, it's because he gave me some Virginia wine and I thought the wine tasted so good. so we tried to settle with that. But, the real reason is, number one, if you look at the offshore wind industry currently right now, we had to look at the whole of the US. And obviously right now, of course we think that we have potential down the road on the West Coast. We think we have potential in the American Gulf. But what we felt was the East Coast was where all the action will be for quite some time. So we had to look at the states on the East Coast. We went through various states. There's some wonderful places that we looked at, but for what we're trying to do currently right now, I think if you look at the people, the support of the government, and various other, I would say, criteria that we looked at, we thought that Virginia was going to be the best place to do business.
Great. That's wonderful. So this is a pretty big investment, right?
It is. It is about $700 million US for phase one.
And how long until you get through phase one?
But currently, I think, so phase one will be finishing in 2028. So when we start production, we're going to be spending at least about $700 million on until about 2028. We'll see how the business goes. If the business grows, definitely we're going to be adding some more capacity. And I hope we can add some more capacity as quickly as possible. I want to spend a lot of money.
Right. Well, that's a pretty big investment in what I think a lot of people out here would say is an uncertain time. So how did you weigh the risks and against the market opportunities in the United States?
So I think the most important thing for all of us here in the offshore wind industry is if you look at this as a timeline of only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, it's difficult to make a decision. But what we did is we're looking at this as an industry that will last over 20 to 30 to 40 years. So our time frame that we looked at was going to be at least 10, 20, 30 years. If you look at the 10, 20, 30 year time frame, I think everyone in the room will agree that this is going to be an upward trajectory. Of course, we're going to be having our ups and downs, ups and downs, ups and downs. But if you look at the long-term curve, this will be a curve that will be, going up. And I think that it will be going up pretty rapidly. So we have that belief, and that belief was the reason that we came here and invested now, because we thought that currently, when everyone is coming in, when everyone is thinking that this is good, instead of that time, as you look at the stock market, we try to invest when the stock market is down so that you can get the full potential. And that was the way we were thinking of this market as well.
Well, then you made your timing pretty good, let me tell you. I just looked at my 401k.
Yeah,
it was a little scary. So that's really great. I want to ask, though, what do you hope happens, like from our lawmakers and supportive decision makers over the next few years to help prepare for this rapid deployment?
Well, number one thing, I hope that the lawmakers don't look at politics. What they see is the need for electricity. The reason that we're all here, we're talking about this, is clean electricity is good. But altogether, whatever electricity, you need electricity. And for electricity, you need a portfolio. You just can't go with oil and gas. You just can't go with nuclear. And you just can't go with solar. You have to have in the United States as well, I would say, offshore wind. And I hope that the lawmakers understand that and know that you need that portfolio. And for America to fight against other countries, say, for example, data centers, AAs, and things like that, we all know currently the number one need that America needs is going to be electricity. And offshore wind can help provide that. And the lawmakers should know that. And that's what we should all be actually going to them and telling them about.
Right. So this is really a story of national greater onshoring and manufacturing of domestic investments in factories. And given that current environment, do you think you're set up for success?
Yes, because Liz, as I mentioned, we're not looking at this as a short term. So we're not going to be spending $700 million, and we're not going to be going out of this market in Virginia currently right now, Chesapeake, Virginia, in 2 or 3 years. We're going to be here for 20, 30, 40 years. We look at this as a long-term kind of business that we're looking at. So what I'm trying to say is 1, 2, 3 years, who can predict that? We might have problems. Suddenly we might get a very favorable break. Mm-hmm. But we're looking at the long-term perspective. And looking at that long-term perspective, we don't worry too much.
Right. Wonderful. Well, is there any words of wisdom or advice you'd like to end our quick fireside chat on?
Oh, there is. I think the important thing for everyone here is, as you mentioned, it's going to be strengths in numbers. If we hold strong, if we have that same commitment, and if we know that the goal is there, that no one can change that goal, I think we should be all kind of in it together with the Oceantic Network as well. And strengths in numbers will actually make us powerful and make lawmakers and policymakers understand what the important thing is at stake currently right now.
Great. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your investment.
Thank
On
you.
behalf of the entire American offshore wind industry, we're very, very grateful.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As our nation grows, so does our need for energy. But not just any energy. Clean, reliable power that fuels our nation's prosperity while making our communities healthier. Offshore wind is an essential piece of that future. Harnessing offshore wind can power millions of homes while delivering electricity where it's needed most. At RWE, we're leading the charge in America's clean energy evolution. With over 2 decades of experience and more than 1,000 turbines installed globally, we're bringing our expertise to the United States. Currently in planning or development, our offshore wind projects span the East, West, and Gulf coasts. Together, these projects can generate up to 6 gigawatts of clean power. And we're not just generating electricity, we're fueling the economy too. These projects will create good-paying American jobs while investing in the supply chain across dozens of states. We're powering the nation and empowering America's energy independence. Because at RWE, we're your neighbors, working hand in hand to build stronger, healthier communities. The winds of change are here. Join us in creating an even brighter future for our nation.
Well, next up we have my friend, Sam Eaton, President and CEO, I'm going to try to get this right, RWE U.S. Offshore Wind.
Close enough.
Good. So, how are you, Sam?
I'm doing fantastic. I can't tell you how excited I am to be in one of the states leading the deployment of offshore wind. And coming in yesterday or Sunday and seeing the just rows of transition pieces was really empowering and exciting to see. It's happening. We've been waiting for this moment for decades.
Great. It is exciting, isn't it? It's amazing to see offshore wind in action. So as one of the largest developers in the United States with projects on both coasts and in the Gulf, you know, it must feel like a very challenging moment, right? And not just in the US, but globally as well. In your mind, where does the industry need to focus now to ensure that offshore wind remains an attractive energy solution?
Well, it's important that we don't lose sight of the success that we've had here in the US over the last number of years. We've talked a number of times over the last number of conferences about this moment where we were going to be deploying the technology and seeing things happen at scale. And so for that, everybody in this room should be very excited and really appreciate the success that folks have delivered in this room. But now we face a question as to where the next evolution of offshore wind is going to be. And we need to think about this fundamental question. Are we developing a technology that will serve an important niche, or are we developing a technology that will scale to an American mainstream? It's a moment where energy demand is increasing at just unbelievable rates. As you mentioned here in Virginia, 6% growth. That's something we haven't seen in decades. There's a declared national energy emergency and a desire to see revitalized US manufacturing. That's our moment in offshore wind. America needs offshore wind to be mainstream.
Absolutely. And you're right, this increase in energy demand has taken the entire country by surprise. We haven't seen growth like this since World War II. So it was sort of this sleeping thing that happened, and now all of a sudden we need every molecule that we can, and an electron that we can get on the grid. Exactly. So we're at a point, though, I feel like where we were back in 2016, where we need our states to now intervene and to really help move the market for quick deployment. We've got to look to their leadership. What can industry do to support them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And first of all, again, let's not forget what they've achieved over the last decade. They've been involved in this marine spatial planning to determine where projects are going to be located. They've set up policy and permitting frameworks to allow projects to proceed. And they've created a market framework that allowed those first projects to be built. But now as we think about that next evolution, we all have to take a look at what is it going to take to scale this industry. And with that, we need to make sure that we're not operating from a mindset of offshore wind exceptionalism, but creating parity and clarity in the market that allows us to continue the investments that we're looking for. Ultimately, as investors of capital, large allocators of capital, we cannot make a decision to invest the kinds of capital that we're looking for or looking at with these projects unless we have the policy environment that gives us clear rules of the road and we have an understanding that we're going to be competitive in those markets. And ultimately, that lack of clarity or lack of clarity costs customers hundreds of billions of dollars over the course of the long term.
Right. So do you think it's time for a reset?
I do, and I appreciate your comments this morning that it is that time to take a look at what it's going to take. We're looking at investing tens of billions of dollars in the portfolio that's mentioned in the video. And the only way that happens if we have that clarity of policy environment in order to be able to know the rules of the road. If we're being asked to make those kinds of investments and a permit can be pulled without reasonable due process, or the price of materials that we need to build the project can change overnight by huge amounts due to changes in policy, the risk no longer fits the reward associated with the capital investment that's required. And so we need to fix that in order to be successful in the industry. But just as importantly, we all need to look together at how we're building the market frame and hit reset on that, evaluating what are those opportunities where we're adding additional burden to the market frame that hurts customers and adds additional cost that we don't place on other mainstream energy technologies.
Right. So what's the role of supply chain in this? We feel the work we're doing is essential, and we feel that our impact goes beyond components and services that many of you provide. We feel the U.S. supply chain has an opportunity to leverage its economic impact, the good work that all of you are doing every day in your communities, into advocacy for the industry. Have you seen this in action so far? And how do you recommend, from a developer's point of view, that the supply chain work in tandem with you and policymakers to build support across the board?
Well, it's critical that we all come to the table during this moment to tell the story of offshore wind and the benefits that we're delivering to more than 40 states across the U.S. This is not just an industry that's resulting in benefits to those that are going to receive the power, but to the jobs and the investment that are being created in all those states. We need the supply chain, we need the workforce to be at the table having those conversations, helping us to explain the value proposition that we're providing to America. And that will be critical. We've seen the proof where that can work out. Now we all need to come together in this room to make sure that we amplify the voice and deliver that message.
Right. And there is this desire from the Trump administration to really reinvigorate shipbuilding and domestic manufacturing. Do you think that's a realistic view for the supply chain to take advantage of during this time?
I do. In fact, I think that's a great opportunity for us as an industry to be thinking about the alignment of interest that we have with the administration on these topics. We all need shipbuilding to take off in this country in order to be able to support this industry. We need domestic manufacturing to occur to be able to support the demand that this industry has created over the last number of years. Let's use this moment to be able to capture those opportunities and those incentives to be able to accelerate where we want to be 2 to 4 years from now.
Right, absolutely. So, I mentioned in my speech that, we rebranded in 2023 into Oceantic Networks from the Business Network for Offshore Wind so that we could look out broader at other ocean renewables and technologies, really looking at the work that you all were doing in Europe and hybrid projects and looking at other, blue economy types of opportunities. So what is our RWE doing across the globe? And then how do you feel does that have potential here in the United States?
Well, I think first and foremost, let's take a moment to think about what is the challenge that we have in the U.S. Clearly, there's a cost parity conversation that we need to be thinking about. It is more expensive to build in the U.S. than what we see in Europe today. And that's where we need to bring that examination to the regulatory frameworks that we're using to build the projects today and make sure we remove that cost burden. Assuming that can happen, I'm confident that the folks in this room have the technological capability, the talent to be able to innovate, to be able to solve the other challenges that we face as an industry. That will then create the opportunities to bring these other technologies to the US. As you mentioned, in Europe today, we've got projects underway where we're already pairing offshore wind with electrolyzers to produce clean hydrogen as an option for industries that are otherwise hard to abate. Mm-hmm. We're pairing offshore wind projects with battery storage, and we're providing other grid services that currently today aren't provided from offshore wind. And longer term, we're looking at options, as you've discussed, around floating solar as an opportunity to increase the power output of these projects. And with that blueprint, we are confident at RWE, we have the ability to deliver these projects where the market supports it.
Great. So anything you want to kind of close on, any words of wisdom you want to give our attendees?
I think number one is going back to this conversation around clarity and parity. Mm-hmm. I've been in the industry for 20 plus years, and what I found over that time is anytime we want to develop new technologies and get it deployed at scale, the key conversation is how do we make it easier? How do we remove friction from that deployment process? Not how do we make it harder and add additional burden relative to the alternatives. And that's the moment we face as an industry today as we think about how we go from where we are today to where we want to be 2 to 4 years from now.
Great. Well, I want to thank you for your leadership, for all you and your team do to help move this industry forward in the United States. It is wonderful having you as one of our premier developers. And I just want to give Sam a round of applause and say thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you, Liz.
Please welcome the Honorable Tim Houston, Premier of Nova Scotia.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is incredible. What a thrill to be here. I don't know if I look like somebody who was up all night watching election results, but I feel like it. Yeah, we had an election last night in Canada, so it was interesting results. But it's probably a helpful result for this sector, I would say. So I'm excited about that. I have a number of members of my team here. I want to point out Kim. She's over here. Maybe Kim can stand up and give a little wave. She's the expert on energy in Nova Scotia. And there's other members of my team here, and I know, yeah, she's incredible. Thank you. I hope you get a chance to chat with her over the next couple days. And I know there's a number of Canadians here. There's a number of Nova Scotians here, and I just want to say to everyone else, we come in peace. we come in peace to work together for sure. And Mr. Mayor, let me say, I have very fond memories of Virginia Beach. I got engaged here 31 years ago, So it's worked out okay. I have fond memories of Virginia Beach for sure. And I want to invite everyone here to come to Nova Scotia and make some fond memories in Nova Scotia. I don't know how many people have been to Nova Scotia, or if anyone, a couple. Okay, thank you. Maybe, yeah, oh, good, okay. Overwhelming number. And maybe the rest of you at least Googled it before today. But listen, if you come to Nova Scotia, you'll have an incredible time. Halifax, our capital city, thriving city, really growing. We're about 1 million people in Nova Scotia, and about half of them live in the capital city. But from Halifax, a 2-hour drive, you can be down in our valley region. We call that the Napa Valley of the East. Incredible grape quality there, great wine production. Or you can drive a couple hours another way, and literally be on some of the best golf courses in the world, ranked golf courses. All of this surrounded by 13,000 kilometers of coastline, beaches, hiking trails, cliffs, and of course, incredible seafood too. So we have a lot going, so hopefully you have a chance to come and see us up there. But one thing that we really have is an incredible opportunity in natural resources. We have remarkable potential in critical minerals and aggregates. We just have incredible potential. And no more potential than in offshore wind. We're really excited about what's possible in offshore wind. We have incredible wind speeds. It blows a lot. We have good bottom. We have ports. We have a lot to offer to the sector. We're really excited about what's possible. And my government is committed to moving forward. I don't know how many people I've watched this show, Landman, or familiar with Billy Bob Thornton. Let me just say, I never expected that the guy who played Bad Santa could have an impact on my professional career. But there's a scene in Landman where he's there looking at the windmill, and he says, do you have any idea how much diesel it takes to mix the concrete, to make the steel, to move the parts here? And then he wrecked them with the 400-foot cranes. It says, in the life of that windmill, this is the words of Billy Bob Thornton, over its useful life, it will not offset the carbon it took to make it. Mark Twain had the expression that a lie can travel halfway around the world faster than the truth can put its sneakers on. And that was before TikTok. So we know that there are doubters for sure, but Liz mentioned about the industry being in the crosshairs of politicians now. It's in my crosshairs too, but in a positive way. But we know we have to overcome those doubters and move forward. But we will, because the demand for energy, some discussion about that, is so significant. And our demand within Nova Scotia is continuing to grow too. We see, as we develop some natural resources, the demand in the mining sector will grow incredibly. Big focus on data centers and demand there. So we know that our own internal domestic demand will grow, but we also know that the demand in New England and across the United States is growing as well. So that demand has to be met, and we want to be part of meeting it. So in Nova Scotia, in this year, in 2025, we'll put bids out for about 2.5 gigawatts, and then we'll follow that every couple of years with more, certainly another 2.5 just a couple of years after that. Expect to have at least 5 out by 2030. But that 5 is just the start. When we look at the asset, the wind resource that exists, we believe that from Nova Scotia, we could power most of Canada. We could be looking at 30 offshore in Nova Scotia in really not too long of a time frame. So we're really excited about the potential. We're really excited about the growth opportunity. And as a as the leader of Nova Scotia, as an elected official, I can tell you my commitment, it could not be stronger, because we know that we have to do something. We have a beautiful province. It's growing. We have 10 universities. We have lots on the go. But there's a statistic that kind of made my hair gray. It keeps me up at night. And that's, if you look at the 50 states, there are only 50. If you look at the 50 states and the 10 provinces, so not counting the north, the territories in Canada, but the 50 and 10, the 60 jurisdictions of North America, and you look at GDP per capita, you would see New York State #1, Massachusetts #2, and you'd look down the list, and you'd see Alberta would show up as the first province. And you keep looking down, and just, Mississippi, Alabama, you just keep looking down and keep looking down. At number 60 of 60 in GDP per capita is Nova Scotia. The worst GDP per capita in North America. And I'm not okay with that. And Nova Scotians aren't okay with that. So we know that we have to move on the opportunities that we have, and we are blessed with opportunities. So we will be moving, and we see this offshore wind as a massive opportunity to change the future of our province, energy security for Nova Scotians, economic security. So I am very committed. You are extremely focused in the middle of my crosshairs, for sure. And I actually think the timing couldn't be better, because as things settle down in the United States over the next little while, we can be getting to work in Nova Scotia and building up those supply chains and building the infrastructure and creating the energy that is so much in demand, so we can work very closely together. And for all of the assets and the strengths and the opportunity, we know that there are challenges. So our domestic use in Nova Scotia at peak demand would be about 2.4 gigawatts. So I just told you we're going to do bids for 5 and keep going and going. So we know that the demand will grow domestically, but we also know that we need to have solid offtake markets. And that will require a cable. So we know that as a provincial government, we'll work closely with our federal government to lead the way. We know we're gonna have to invest in a cable to Massachusetts, to Ontario somewhere, maybe both in the fullness of time. But my government is committed to making those investments. We're looking for partners, certainly from other levels of government, but from industry. So there's a huge opportunity on that side as well. And this cable is going to be needed for the wind, but it's also going to be needed for the other energy opportunities we have. I mentioned some of the beautiful opportunities we have, but this without even mentioning the Bay of Fundy. And the Bay of Fundy, the opportunity that represents, if you took every single river in the world, and added them together, you may come close to the strength of the Bay of Fundy at the changing of the tides. You might come close. This is an incredible resource. It's completely untapped. So in the fullness of time, when I look to the future for Nova Scotia, and I see incredible offshore wind production, and I think about what's possible, you add the Bay of Fundy on that, Nova Scotia can be a significant player in the energy space, sustainable green energy. And that is what the world demands. It's what the world wants. And together, because of this moment in time, we can do it together. We need to do this together. And I'm excited about that. Canada as a country, think about Canada, with its vast coastlines and opportunities. Canada as a country has 0 offshore wind. And to me, that's an embarrassment. So Nova Scotia can be the first. And I want to do that with you. and seize this opportunity. There will always be Billy Bob Thorntons in the world. There will always be doubters, but we're not amongst them. So together, let's get on the same page and let's move forward and seize these opportunities. And I'd love to see you all in Nova Scotia, and hopefully we get a chance to chat today. But if you don't, please touch base with Kim and make sure that we chat, because this is a real opportunity with a committed government who has to do this. So folks, let's do it, and let's do it together. And I just want to thank Liz and her team for inviting me here. And it's been an absolute pleasure to be in Virginia Beach and bring back some memories, and look forward to making some new ones with each of you. But have a great forum, and thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate it, folks. Thank you, guys.
Please welcome Mark Mitchell, Senior Vice President of Project Construction from Dominion Energy.
Good morning. It's certainly an exciting time to be in this business, and a little bit interesting as well. Projects would be very boring if it was just day-to-day doing projects without a little bit of distraction, so that's okay. A quick background on Dominion Energy. We are headquartered in Richmond, Virginia, and we provide regulated electric utility service to 3.6 million homes and businesses in Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, as well as regulated natural gas service to 500,000 customers in South Carolina. We have just under 15,000 employees who are dedicated every day to executing our mission, which is to provide reliable, affordable, and increasingly clean energy that powers our customers' needs every day. That mission, delivering power to customers who need it, fundamentally hasn't changed in decades. However, one of the biggest changes we are seeing is a rapid increase in demand. According to the grid operator PJM, average peak annual loads in what's known as the DOM zone, which includes Dominion Energy, Virginia's utility service area, in areas served by co-op and municipal providers served by our transmission system, are expected to grow by 6.3% a year over the next decade. That's the latest projection, 6.3% a year, incredible. That's around 3 times the historical average, and that's up from PJM's previous projection from only a few months ago, which anticipated 5.5% growth. We're already seeing the growth in demand play out in real time. Last summer, we hit a new demand peak 6 times in a single month. Those peaks were eclipsed this past January when we hit 3 new peaks on 3 consecutive days. The top 30 all-time summer peaks in the region we serve have all been set since 2022. For Dominion Energy, we expect electricity demand in our Virginia service area to double by 2038. So how are we going to meet this tremendous demand? The short answer is that we're going to need more of everything. At our company, we're taking what we call an all-of-the-above energy approach. Last fall, we released our Integrated Resource Plan for Virginia, or IRP for short. This long-term planning document represents a snapshot in time as we strive to meet the increasing needs for our customers over the next 15 years. We finished that work in 2024. We had to plan that we have a plan that includes around 12,000 megawatts of new solar generation. That's enough for 3 million homes. Offshore wind increasing beyond the existing CVOW project. More than 4,000 megawatts of battery storage, and 6,000 megawatts of new natural gas generation, which is needed to help keep the lights on when the wind and solar resources are not producing enough electricity. And it also anticipates the use of small modular reactors starting around a decade from now. Having a variety of generation sources helps maintain reliability by avoiding over-reliance on any given power source. It also helps maintain affordability by insulating our customers and the company against outsized price shocks for a particular fuel source or generation component. Renewables are a key element of our strategy in this regard. The fuel cost for wind and solar is zero, and our CVOW project is expected to save customers $3 billion in fuel costs over the next 10 years. Now turning to CVOW. It was back in 2018, I was here, and we announced the CVOW project. It was about this time in the program that people were looking at each other and so we announced a 2.6 gigawatt project, 176 turbines. People were looking at each other and say, did I just hear him say 2.6 gigawatts? Can't believe that. But I'm proud to say that, we announced that project at that time. We're still pretty much right on track with the timeline that we established for that project. With CVOW, we're propelling renewable energy forward. This monumental project will complete in late 26 and will have enough capacity to generate about 2.6 gigawatts of power, or enough for 660,000 homes. A little bit about the economics and the jobs created by CVOW. So far, it's credited with employing 2,000 U.S. workers and $2 billion of economic activity. If you add in Charybdis, our wind turbine installation vessel being built in Texas, that would be over 3,000 U.S. jobs. In Virginia, offshore wind's economic development and jobs benefits are transformative for Hampton Roads and the Commonwealth. Nearly 1,000 Virginia-based workers, more than 800 in the Hampton Roads region, have been engaged on CVOW project or other businesses supporting CVOW. Post-completion, the project will support 1,100 direct and indirect jobs representing $82 million in pay and benefits and over $210 million in economic output annually. We have invested $6.2 billion to date in CVOW, and it's more than 55% complete. It is on time, and with each installation, we are growing one step closer to providing another resource to support our customers' growing needs. We need every electron we can get, and these are the fastest electrons we can get. CVOW is also affordable. I noticed Liz put on the screen the cost of offshore wind at the low end was $74. I'm proud to say we're below the low end of that. We're around $62 a megawatt hour for levelized cost of energy. That's among the lowest costs we can build new generation for. And how about those two pilot turbines we installed in 2020? How are they doing? After over 4 years of operation, they have averaged 97% availability over 4 years. They were installed the first year of COVID. And they've produced an average capacity factor of around 47%. Our initial estimate was around 42%. So I would say they've performed extremely well. During the extreme cold, during the wintertime, they were at full output, which is great. Lastly, I'd like to thank our supporters and suppliers. There are many of them. Virginia Beach Mayor Bobby Dyer has been recognized before. We would recognize him and his leadership and all the support in the region, along with our contractors. There's many of them, so I won't name them all because I'm sure I will forget somebody. But I appreciate the time to be here this morning, and we look forward to getting CVOW complete. Thank you.
Please welcome Joe Tirone, Chair of the Oceantic Network Board of Directors.
Hello, everyone, and good morning. My name is Joe Tirone, and on behalf of the Oceantic Network's Board of Directors, I'd like to thank you for attending the 2025 International Partnering Forum. As the network's board chair and a longtime supporter of this organization, I'm incredibly proud of everything Liz Burdock and her team have accomplished. For over a decade, Oceantic has led the way for American offshore wind through events like the IPF. And as new challenges emerge in recent months, they've doubled down with fortitude and a renewed focus. Oceanic is utilizing the data and stories coming out of this industry to inform congressional offices and government leaders about the positive economic impacts of offshore wind across the nation. It's been incredible to witness the work that they're doing alongside partners and network members, and the industry thanks you for it. I believe in the mission and the day-to-day work of this organization, which is why I'm here today at 2025 IPF. There's never been a more critical time for this industry to come together, and it's wonderful to see you all here today, ready to dig in and work together. We've got a great conference for you. If you'll please stay seated for just 1 minute more, I've got a few quick highlights before you head out. First, our exhibit hall is now open. To your right as you exit the ballroom. There you'll find exhibitors and our new Power On stage. Upstairs on the second floor, we have programming all day, starting later this afternoon through Thursday. So be sure to check the agenda for more information. Tomorrow, our first Ocean Renewables Summit is taking place next door at the DoubleTree Hotel. There will be plenty to explore of the potential of emerging energy technologies and opportunities for offshore wind businesses to get involved. And finally, tonight, I look forward to honoring industry innovators and leaders at the annual Ventus Awards Gala right here in this room. Thank you for all coming. Let's have a great IPF. Keep calm and power on.
Looking from a window above, it's like a story of love.